All right, guys, welcome back to another fan therapy episode. Today, we're back to talking about Chelsea. Been away from Chelsea for a bit. Things have been going relatively well, but some things transpired obviously in the last couple games. So, definitely have something to discuss with Chelsea, something to get through. Yeah, just some things we really got to talk about. Kind of going into it, I'm gonna let most of our fan base kind of get on with all the overreactions and all the like outlandish, outrageous things they want to say about our current state. But kind of looking at the overall picture, we do stand where we relatively need to in terms of our goals of reaching top four this year. But unfortunately, this last run in this current kind of run of games is one that we really should be pulling out wins in, and we've come out with draws and losses. Not very good draw. Drawing to Everton, lost to Ipswich, and a loss. Oh my goodness, it's really escaping. Another loss for this game that's escaping me, where we lost on a game-winning goal in the reigning moments of the game. Apologies, the team's escaping my mind right now, but yeah, not the greatest run of games for Chelsea in the recent past. And yeah, I think this is kind of a prime time for opposing fans to kind of jump at us because they were trying to push us into the title race. Now they're kind of jump on us for our recent drop of form, kind of poking at our manager and honestly at some players that honestly deserve it. Our manager deserves some blame, but how should we really look at this? Kind of the way I'm taking it is just this was a great time to have a reality check that the Ipswich game was. And yeah, I'm thankful for the timing of it. I am just, yeah, mainly, yeah, thankful for the time and just really happy to learn kind of the things about our team, our manager, and yeah, just confirm some things that I've heard when learning about this manager in the past. And yeah, just kind of seeing some things just tie together and who we are as a team and where some of the issues lie. So, kind of getting into it is our defense situation. Like that right back, right center back position has just been really bad. I think that was on show today. Disasi had a horrific game, and not really putting too much on Disasi, even though I'll get back to that. That game was really, really bad today. More focusing on what we learned about the manager and the team as a whole. I never thought we would miss Wesley Fofana this much. I knew he was a big loss in that area, but it really seemed that he was kind of the keystone to this entire defense. Kind of what we'd expect out of a purchase of that nature, but just kind of how the games were rolling on. Cole just kind of seemed that that defense was more of a group effort than it's really seeming to be. Yeah, kind of the losses of Wesley Fofana. Going to talk a little bit about Romeo Lavia is just really affecting the defenders and midfielders around them, and it's just the quality is just really poor. The energy is just really poor. And I think we really got to focus on just building back from that defense. If we don't really have a defense that we can trust to not make mistakes consistently throughout a game, not be in proper positions, not make the proper passes to get us out, it's really going to be just you can't play in the Prem if you can't do those things. And we saw that last year when he had the inability to do those things. We saw it go bad, and then we saw this year when we could do those things how well it was going for us. We reached second place status, which is something that we weren't even dreaming of as the last year was rolling. And then kind of just really looking as we're getting into January. It might be January when this video might just be before. Happy New Year. Kind of when that window opens up. I know we're bringing back that I believe he's Argentinian center back. I know he's young. I don't think he's going to play much. I think it's just mainly an injury why he's coming back. We'll probably loan him back out to Strasbourg, but that's a position that definitely looks like we may need some help in, may need to look at buying somebody even potentially. I don't know what that even looks like with the club currency. I know we're in a crowded squad position, but it seems like Wesley Fofana was kind of that engine that we can't do without at this time. So really gonna have to look into that, and just kind of really tired of having these players that just we really rely on, and we just don't buy any like similarities to them. We don't like it just seems like we just weren't very proactive in terms of kind of the like for likeness. And I think that's just kind of showing that the depth of our midfield and defense, while we have the loaded like a lot of players, the quality and just the usefulness there isn't too good. Pushing on, honestly, to let's hone in on that right center back in Disasi. We'll get into that. This kind of displayed what I have read earlier, kind of when we first were hiring Maresca, kind of took a look into him, what Leicester fans were saying about him, and kind of one of the more consistent things that they were overall obviously pleased with him as he won them the title, but they did mention that he could be rather stubborn when it comes to making changes to a system in game, to players on the field in game, and man, was that on show today. He kept Disasi out there when Disasi one should have definitely not come out for that second half. He was very bad out of position, and honestly almost to the point where it looked like he had some funky instructions given to him. But yeah, just the passes were poor, the touches were poor, the positioning was poor. He constantly, honestly, Nani didn't have the best game, but Nani even saved him a couple times by tracking back for him. Yeah, just not the best game from Disasi and even Nani. And I believe they were the last two of the subs, which was very, very frustrating. Just watching them really just not ruin the game. Because honestly, none of the players were great, but they were just really kind of just the points where you can really, there were the really players where you can point out like these players are not working today. We need to change something. They're not going to help us win the game today. But it turns out that they were the last two to be taken off the field, which was extremely frustrating to watch and kind of raises an ear of fans of myself, honestly, after kind of researching him a bit and seeing previous fans at Leicester kind of annoyed with his lack of willingness to sub early enough, or maybe just displaying just stubbornness and false belief in kind of what he put out there for the day. I think I'm not going to pin that as a issue on him now, but that's definitely an aspect of the way he manages that show today, and I think he's shown that he's able to make good changes in previous games, but I think in these last few games really didn't help us much with any changes tactically, any changes in terms of subs, and yeah, just something to keep an eye out and kind of a wake-up call for fans as we move forward to look out for. um, that being said, what really makes me not nervous, but what really kind of comes to mind is if we have a manager like that, is really just having a strong starting 11 that we could put out there. And it seems like the 11, obviously we rotated for a game at Ipswich, but it's really sad just to see that effort from the quote unquote quality of players, the investment of players that we put out there today. Obviously, we're in second place in a decent spot for the season, but kind of this run of games that should be kind of easier, where we kind of pad our position in the top four, solidify our spot there, has become problems, and it just shows that every game in the Premier League is hard. It's going to be difficult. You got to be ready. You got to show up no matter who you're playing, and we've kind of shown that we're kind of not showing up for every game, or maybe this run of games, maybe we're getting a little bit leggy, which I'll kind of get into a bit later. Then actually, I'll get into that now. This kind of I feel like the squad has a lot of players, but it brings kind of a false sense of depth that we have. I think we have a lot of attacking options, and we should kind of stick with and let them kind of gel. Maybe we want to bring in a striker or something, but I think really it's just the foundation of the midfield and the center backs that we really need to figure out, like the depth pieces, who can come on and be service if a Caicedo or Lavia is out, even Enzo. Just there's aspects of Enzo as a midfielder that really frustrate me, but I know there's also really elite values he has. My preferred pairing is absolutely Romeo and Caicedo back there. I think they support the midfield well, and then they also give our wingers, and then maybe if the right-sided center back, kind of when that formation decides to make a run, he's able, from the stability he provides defensively, he also has the ability to pass out and kind of release the Cucurella's into space. And I think we've seen, as Lavia's been out, kind of Cucurella doesn't operate with as much space, just kind of just bombing down the wings, running onto passes which defenders are either chasing him or not even in the picture, and that's when he operates best, and he's an aggressive defender. And when it comes to offensive, he needs a little bit more space to provide proper service. I think this is something we've known. This is something we've been able to get him to do, and I think that loss of Lavia, we just haven't been able to replicate that without him. And yes, Baez definitely one of my favorite players, but truly, we see the difference in the midfield. Caicedo's has to work his butt off without Lavia there. Enzo is not as capable of defender, not as knowledgeable in terms of the positioning he needs to be, in terms of proactively stopping these attacks, which really supports our defense and turns them into passing options when we're able to do that, and can change the field quickly as well. Definitely just missing some players that we've seen in these past few games. But if we want to be in these positions, we really got to figure out a squad that can work, figure out a way to place the squad that will work if we're missing some key players, like Lavia. God forbid if we're missing a Caicedo for a game. I think we might be missing Caicedo next game, actually, because he got that yellow today. We'll confirm that. But yeah, just the depth. I feel like it's just a false sense of depth. I think we do have players on loan. I think we're gonna have to really keep all those midfield options out on loan to spare those relationships with the club. But let's hope that the options of maybe Cassidy, Braska doesn't play Chukwuemeka, KDH, Cannon, maybe he can step into some of these roles and really help out and be options, because recently our midfield, as games goes on, they just begin. Before, they look like they were flying all over the place, being proactive. Now they're kind of when the 65th minute rolls around, they're getting a little leggy, not as active, making dumber decisions than we're used to seeing. And I think it's just we're missing our options and just missing a key player in there, Lavia, who I think was really a keystone to how we moved. And then kind of moving on, when we get into these situations when we're down 2-0, 1-0, the team goes up late 2-1. We don't really have the experience or players. They've been in situations like this, but we don't really have like elder experienced players with so many minutes under the belt doing this, who can really like dig us out of a moment, or kind of just even like keep our heads. We don't even have a captain that can really keep our heads in this moment, or really like advise. We got young players that we really need to ensure we get the lead early to see these games out. And it's kind of not what ideal, kind of when you're facing an experienced league like the Premier League, being on the younger end, trying to solidify a spot in the top four amongst so many good teams with the point cap is so thin. Just kind of good things to learn, and I think it's great to have these wake-up calls when you're in the top four. So not really freaking out yet. I don't like what I'm seeing, but just some things that I'm seeing, looking out for, and things good to learn. And I think it's a well-timed wake-up call for Chelsea. Hopefully we can pick it up. I think our next game is Crystal Palace, so not going to be an easy one. Crystal Palace isn't a team. None of these teams are teams as we've seen today with Ipswich, and other squads. You can't just roll in there and think we're going to scoop up 3 points really easy. So hopefully we go back to the drawing board, training ground, fix what we need to fix, get these players healthy, maybe get another center back in. Please get another center back in. That'll be great. See you guys in the next video. Thank you and peace.